Superman every single game. Like um, Denzel over there could go crazy one day. Colin, as you see, it's really a team sport. But it definitely was a good feel, to see that. If I was slacking that game, and my teammates they really had my back and they picked up the slack and we got the win.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you so much for joining me, Jonathan Davis, Bo Lanter, Doug Barnes, two former Kentucky basketball players and a former UK basketball assistant will be joining. And that we're going to get it to Mitch Barnhart in a second, but that soundbite by Owe is particularly important, and here's why. If he really believes, and I don't mean to call anybody a liar, but if you believe it, because sometimes these guys have to say things, if you really believe it, that takes some pressure off Owe. There's a difference between needing a bucket when the game's tied at 67 and Owe says, hey, I'm the guy. I got the ball. I'm going to the hole. Great. And saying, oh, no, if I don't come up with 25, we can't win. There's a big difference psychologically. What I wonder, and I really wonder, if there was any point in time this year, because think about it, how much has Aberdeen improved, right? How much has Chandler improved, right? I wonder if there was any point in time this year, earlier now, before they became the GOATs, the three GOATs, as he's calling them, God bless, more power to him. If there was any point in time this year where he said, you know what, if I don't get mine, this is not being selfish now. If I don't get mine, we can't win. I would be shocked if that thought didn't creep into his head at a certain point. And by the way, am I being negative to our way? Hell no. Am I being negative to the team? No. But it's human nature. It really is. I think what happens is it's helped Owe relax a little bit. I can't prove this. I can't tell you it's 100% sure. I am telling you it would be a natural thought process if that process was in his head. And the fact that, guess what? He says that's not true anymore. And I think he believes it. It's a big change for this basketball team. It really is. Because it also means he feels more comfortable either passing to one of those guys or perhaps somebody else. And perhaps that means looking for them when they are open could help him in the long run. I guess this is a long-winded saying that they've become a better team. And you know what? March is here. You're supposed to be a much better team. And if you think about it, this team has improved tremendously. Is it good enough? How the hell do I know? What's that famous movie? It's like a box of chocolates. You open it up, right? Who knows what, come on. Part of the theme yesterday with my guests agreed with my thought that this has been the most up and down season that I can remember. And I'm not talking about a down year, just up and down, up and down. And I still believe that part of it has to do with psychologically, there are a lot of Kentucky fans who aren't sold on Pope. I'm not being negative. I'm just telling you what you feel. And it's not just reacting to social media that if Kentucky would lose by 25 tonight, which I don't think is going to happen, if Kentucky loses by 25 tonight, oh, no, get rid of Pope. There's too much of that in today's society. But that's me. So I think that's an important soundbite. I really do. I think it's part of the metamorphosis of Owe and the metamorphosis and growth and develop of this team, which is cool. But they got to win tonight. And Buckyball, was it about 6-7 weeks ago, was getting some national acclaim, and now they've kind of fallen apart. And if they beat Kentucky tonight, you start thinking about having to play on Wednesday, that's a long haul in the SEC tournament. It just is. It's tough. As a matter of fact, this is a safe prediction. You never say never. But I don't think we'll ever see anyone. Well, first of all, you're obviously not good if you're playing on the first day, duh. But the other reason for saying that, and teams do get hot, the other reason for saying that is I just don't think anybody, I don't care how deep your bench is, I don't care how much you use your bench, I don't think anybody can play on that first day and win. I just don't. Not being negative. They set this up the right way. I'm not suggesting they set it up another way, but that's just the way it is. Now, normally I would talk more about the game, but obviously We need to talk about Mitch Barnhart. But before they do that, I want to talk about John Pelfrey. He just got fired. And this is a little thing. And Jimmy, you're going to tell me I'm being too sensitive here. You would love to do that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
By the way, congratulations again on your show. You and Matthew have moved to what time?
4 to 6, Wildcat Drive.
Wildcat Drive. Great. I think it's pretty obvious. You can tell how happy I am for you guys. And it's good for the radio station. So it's a beautiful thing. Jimmy, tell me if you think this sucks. So if you go on to the Tennessee Tech website, just a typical picture, the game story, all that kind of stuff. And, a coach is huddling around the team. Jimmy, there's no Pelfrey in that huddle. It's an assistant coach. You don't see him in the picture at all. Now, do I think they decided way before this morning to fire him? I do. And their season is over, by the way. He finished 13-18. And I said this last year too. I was surprised he still had a job. And I like Pell. I guessed that one of the reasons why he had a job is because they couldn't afford to fire him. And by the way, that's not a negative comment towards Pelfrey. That's sports in our society. Plus, he's a really nice guy. But you know what the first thing I thought of? His wife, who's battling cancer. So maybe this will be relief. He can spend more time with his wife. I just thought about his wife, first thing. To me, you think I'm being a little sensitive with You got your team in a huddle. It's the game picture on your website, and Pelfrey's not in the huddle, and you can't see him. I think that's wrong. I think it's kind of a cheap shot.
Now, I wonder, is it just, did you just happen to see one picture of like a cycle of pictures?
No, it was just one picture. It was just one picture.
Yeah, that is a very strange coincidence. But like you said about his wife having cancer, it is, things in life happen for a reason at weird times, where maybe this is just the timing of it, like you said, where he can have more personal one-on-one time with his wife. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise, you never know.
I'm not speaking for Pell, but I'm going to guess there's something to that. Look, I don't know about his finances, but he's made a lot of money, and he should be fine for the rest of his life. And the fact that he can spend more time with his wife probably is a beautiful thing. I'm with you on that. Now, do I think he'd rather probably still be coaching the team? I do. But since this is going to happen, as you're suggesting, Jimmy, things happen in life for certain reasons. I think there's something to it. Anyway, my thoughts and prayers with Pelfrey. He's a really good dude. And I obviously been wrong. When he was at South Alabama, I thought I was going to be right. I thought John Pelfrey was going to be a great coach. Not a Hall of Fame coach, but I thought he'd be a great coach. That his disposition. Jimmy, I'm telling you, when he played for Pitino, he was a wise, sarcastic on interviews. He was really good. I mean, and he had this looseness about him in interviews. He handled the camera really well. And his love of Kentucky, being a Kentucky boy. So when he came back this year, and we had him on the show before the game, and he told a lovely story that I ended up telling to everybody. It's one of those stories you should tell to everyone. The story was, he would come here, as a lot of people do, and their families, to the Sweet 16, and that was a big deal for them. And that if he wanted to play video games and stuff like that when he was a kid, he had to save his own pennies and quarters and stuff like that. That, the true Kentuckian that he was. And the fact that he got to play here, oh my gosh. I mean, he loved this place as much as Richie or any Kentucky boy who's walked through here. I've always had a lot of respect for Pell, and I just thought with his disposition, and he's kind of like, can I say wise ass? Can you say that on radio?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I just did. He had a kind of a, all right, Jimmy, you tell me if this is nuts. He had kind of a cute, wise-ass mentality with sarcasm that was terrific. Is that too esoteric?
No, it's very, very well said.
He was a really good, all those guys were. Really good interview. Who was I talking to yesterday? No. It was today at the Y. And I was talking to George Massey, the former defensive lineman. Good dude. Really, really good dude. One of my favorite former ex-Cats. And by the way, he's lost a little weight. He's still a big man, and he can pound the weights, and he's really good. And we were talking about the team and stuff like that. And I said, let me tell you, and Jimmy, you've heard me say this many times, Colin Chandler is by far the best interviewer on the team. It's not even close. I'm not ripping anybody else. I'm not saying he's the smartest guy in the world or anybody. If you read into that, you're nuts. He's the best interview on the team. And I've been saying this forever. And then I was talking to Massey and I'm going, when is the last time? And he asked me, when's the last time Kentucky's had somebody this good? And Cal had a bunch of guys who could talk now. Okay? I actually think it's possible that the last, what I call great basketball players, interviews wise, not the greatest players, you could be a great player, was the Patino guys. That first team, there were so many guys who played for Patino that were really good talkers. Again, I'm not saying these guys are not, but I think Chandler is number one. And Massey was going, interesting. So when I look at it, he just is a little different. Okay. We'll segue to Mitch. I never said specifically when he was going to retire. The only thing I said was I felt months ago that this would be his last year. I didn't have any great inside information. I had a couple of people who told me that's what he was preparing for. I didn't make a big deal of it. I'm not suggesting I said, this is definitely going to happen, and I broke the story, because it's not true. I'm always going to be that honest about stuff. 24 years is a long time. And it's interesting, his temperature and his tenure. Whether you like Mitch or not, he has been one of the most powerful, influential people in college athletics. Let me repeat this. Whether you like him or not, he has been one of the most influential and powerful athletics directors in America. One of the ways you can suggest that's true, he's got so many of his former assistant ADs that are athletics directors in places like, Florida, Alabama, Oregon, DePaul, the little schools like that, right? And I don't think that happens without Mitch giving his blessings to other ADs who call him up. And I think that in itself sparks a tremendous amount of respect that other athletics directors have for Mitch. And that's a compliment. It's a big, big compliment. And if you're out 24 years, people are going to say good and bad about you. There's no question about it. And he can be stubborn as a mule. And I think part of the reason he was stubborn as a mule is because he believed in himself and didn't care what the hell you thought. Now, Jimmy, I'd be a little hypocritical if I said that angered me at times, right? Am I stubborn as a mule sometimes?
I'd say, yeah.
Okay. And we've been together quite a long time, and you think for the most part I don't give a rat's what anybody thinks? Would you say that's true? To what level do you – come on, you're with me every day. Do you think I really cared about 99% of the people and what they think?
No, genuinely, I do not think you do.
Yeah, but I will be open-minded to listen.
Yeah.
It's like when they made us, and that's how I'm putting in TV, you get told to do stuff every now and then. Not here, but there. And we had to go on Facebook, and here was the thing, Jimmy, it was great. You just got to interact with people. And when you interact with people, that's going to get us more fans and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I said I didn't think it was worth the time putting into it, but I'm going to be a good boy, and I'll do it. Fine. And so I would put some stuff up, and, people would interact and stuff like that. And I don't know, months and months in, guy sends me this thing, Jimmy, you'll love this. He goes, how many stories and how many great ideas have you gotten from all that stuff? And I went, not one. And really ticked this guy off. And by the way, it was the truth. Not one. Not one opinion I had gotten on Facebook when I was doing the interview. Not one. By the way, am I calling anybody stupid? No. Not one fresh idea. Because, I've been studying this stuff since the late 1950s. And I have my own strong, stubborn opinions. So, Jimmy, who's more stubborn? Me or Mitch Barnhart? You've never been around Mitch, but you've read some stuff. Well, that's it. Look at you smile. Oh, my gosh. If you're on YouTube to see Jimmy smile, it's like, I'm going to shut up so you can talk. Hang on, Jimmy. You know what I've just done to you? I've given you a hanging curveball, and you're about to smack the crap out of it. Go ahead.
I would say you only because I haven't been around Mitch to know truly how stubborn he could be. But I would say you, and it would be tough to beat you, I think, in a stubbornness competition.
My wife happens to be in the car. Whether she's listening or not, I don't have any idea, and I won't ask. It's just, what we do. If she's listening right now, Jimmy, she loves you. Now, I got one more for you. And you've always been honest with me, but I'm going to pin you to the wall here, okay? I want you to put up I'm really going to get you on this one. And you know what? I'm going to be fascinated with your answer. You ready? I got your curiosity, don't you? You have poker faces. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Who is more stubborn, me or Matthew Lawrence, your partner in your 4:00 show? Now, wait a second. No. Don't give me a political answer because you got to live with Matthew every day. Okay, I don't want that crap. I want a real answer. And whatever your answer is, I'm not telling you how to do your show because have I ever done that? Have I ever told you what to do in your show?
No.
It's not for me to tell you. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tell you should bring up this conversation in your show, but go ahead.
I would say you only because Matthew, he seems like he's got more now, maybe 15 years ago, Matthew might be a little more stubborn, but he's more likely to go, you know what? All right, we'll do it. He's more in that sense more of the time. But the stubbornness is definitely in there with Matthew. I don't know, maybe it's the New Yorker in both of you. But I would say you take the cake.
Oh, I'm just so honored to have you vote that way. Thank you. Thank you very much. You enjoyed that too much. Okay, back to Mitch. And I think it's proper to say in 24 years, you're going to make some mistakes. Some of his contracts sucked. The Kyra Elsley contract was awful. He got lucky with the Cal contract. You know that. He did. And the Stoops contract, I still think was stupid, but I said it at the time. And I said at the time, before it fell apart, that the Cal contract was stupid. How many times, Jimmy, have I said on the show? And I said it way back when. I wasn't doing this radio show way back when. If you were afraid of Cal going to UCLA, let him go. And by the way, I didn't want Cal to leave, and I wouldn't want Cal to leave, but I wasn't afraid of somebody leaving. And I will stick with this, Jimmy. I don't give a blank what anybody says. There is no way on this earth that UCLA was going to pay Cal more money. They weren't. They don't pay money. I think UK got conned. I really do. Unless he wanted to go to Hollywood to become a movie star. What do you think? Cal, the movie star, getting in movies or something like that? No. People get conned. I thought UK got conned with that deal. I'd say, Cal, I love you. I don't want you to stay. I don't remember how many years. We'll add a year or something like that. Okay. And it never was a lifetime contract, which I explained many times. There were some bad contracts, really bad contracts. And Mitch screwed up. He didn't want to hire Cal. I've told the story. It's in my book, Cut to the Chase, which you guys are still buying, not like before, but we appreciate it. I'm the guy that told Cal he wasn't getting the job when they hired Billy Gillespie. Me. And I'll never forget that conversation. He calls, we're talking, and I told him he wasn't getting the job. My sources told me that. Jimmy, I don't remember me telling the story, and he starts yelling and screaming, not at me, at least I didn't think he was, just yelling and screaming because he was ticked. And I bet Judy remembers this because all of a sudden I go downstairs to our laundry room to continue the conversation. And I wasn't yelling at Cal, but I had to yell back. You ever talk to somebody, Jimmy, where you have to start yelling back just to be part of the conversation?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. When the conversation was done, I came back upstairs. I'll never forget it. Judy's got this look on her face like, who are you talking to? And what was going on? And I said, that was John Calipari, and I just told him he wasn't getting the Kentucky job. You did what? So he didn't want to hire Cal the first time, and I'm convinced he was talked into hiring the second time. Okay? But let me give Mitch a little credit here. And I think this is important to be fair to Mitch. I don't believe he was ordered to hire Cal, because that's not really how the president works here in this regime. I think he was talked into. I don't think he was in love with the idea, but he did do it. Okay? So give him some credit. Look, hiring Kenny Brooks, and I think they've had a disappointing year. And I like Kenny Brooks as a coach. Okay. I forgot the assistant AD. I'm going blank on the name. Goes in and says, we need to hire this person. Okay. I still give Mitch credit because guess what? He ended up hiring him. You're supposed to have people around you trust. You do. So I think he's got a mostly very good legacy. Jimmy, I'm going to read something, and then I want your opinion. It's 12:21. Are you going to be shocked that basically everything I prepared isn't on the show? Sandy Bell, there's a yes and no to what you put. But I'm glad you put Sandy's name in here, Jimmy. Well, I understand she lives close to me. Neither here nor there. She did not want John Calipari to get hired the first time. She didn't. But I was actually thinking of somebody else. But Jimmy, you helped. So thank you very much. That was a long time ago. I'm talking about when Kenny Brooks was hired. Neither here nor there. So Jenna Lifshin, the assistant sports editor of the Kentucky Colonel, who covers Kentucky for the Kentucky Colonel, put this up. And I found this fascinating. I'm going to read it verbatim. And Jimmy, I do want your 2 cents before we go to a break. Mitch Barnhart, no, just reading. Mitch Barnhart's retirement, and I've discussed this, and I don't know anybody else on radio who's discussed this point nearly as much as I have. Mitch Barnhart's retirement comes only a few weeks after the Lexington Herald-Leader published an article detailing an investigation into former assistant cross-country and track coach Hakan, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, DeVries for alleged sexual harassment and stalking. Barnhart is currently involved in an ongoing lawsuit against the University of Kentucky filed by 2 former swim coaches. According to the lawsuit, the university allowed former coach Lars Jorgensen to foster a, quote, toxic, sexually hostile environment within the swim program, end of quote. Jorgensen was accused of rape and sexual assault amongst other Title IX violations. It sounds like Kentucky could be getting another violations. I started reading another note. Had nothing to do with that. I apologize. I'll repeat that last line. This is one word for word from Jenna Lifshin's tweet. Jorgensen was accused of rape and sexual assault amongst other Title IX violations. First of all, it's very fair for Jenna Lifshin to point this out. Second of all, do you think she's being suggestive as of the timing of this announcement? I'm going to say yes. This is just an opinion. Jimmy, you have a pensive, pondering look on your cranium. You're not sure. You're thinking, aren't you?
No, I agree with you. I would think that's, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. I do think that is being a bit suggestive.
Okay. And I'm good with that. I will also say after 24 years, it's legitimate to say enough is enough. Now, if there's anything to this, honestly, I have no idea. I will say this, and I bet you agree with this, Jimmy. Jenna Lifshin is got a lot of guts. Can I say kahunas? Can you say that on radio?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I just did again. She's got a lot of guts putting this out. And by the way, I'm going to sound like a hypocrite here, and I'm doing this on purpose. It shouldn't take a lot of guts to put this out. But there's, I think, very few reporters, and I'm not knocking anybody in the media here in Lexington. I'm just not. It's a style. What do you want to do? And I think you know me well enough. I wanted to rip the Lexington media or anybody else, I would do it. And Jimmy, I'm sure you're about to nod your head yes. But don't you think it takes a lot of guts as a very young reporter in college to put this out?
Absolutely. And like you said, there's other reporters who probably saw what she did and went, oh, and had the same exact reaction as you did. Is I've heard about this or I've seen this, but I wasn't going to do it.
I would agree with that, or thought it wasn't pertinent. And any reporter who reads this knows about these things. I don't think there's anybody covering the UK beat at all that doesn't know about these things. So I just found it fascinating, really fascinating. And I give her credit, the guts to do it, the absolutely guts to do it. You know, last night, you know what I was going to lead with today? You know, things change. Mark Stoops. Who's going to be one of those special assistants at Texas. Special assistant to head coach Steve Sarkisian. Okay. By the way, they are collecting head coaches like crazy. Paul Chryst, who had some really good years at Pitt. Gary Patterson, who had some great years as a head coach. Really, didn't he? Great years as a head coach. And somebody who used to work for Mark Stoops, one of my favorite people that I started covering when he was a wide receiver at Boyle County, Neil Brown. So it's interesting now. Do I think part of it has to do because Texas has more money than most people? I do. What Stoops is making, I don't have any idea. The way I understand it, what he got paid, and this has nothing to do with it. I'm also going to guess, do I think he's making $1 million doing this? No. Do I think he's making $500,000? No. Could he be making a couple $100,000? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm not worried about Mark Stoops' money. I mean, some of these guys will end up coaching somewhere else. You know, I wouldn't have been surprised if Neil Brown became a coordinator again after last year. I believe Neil Brown was looking for some head coaching opportunities. I know it. He must like it down there. He must be happy down there. And without the right situation, maybe he'll stay there. So good for Stoops. Do I think Stoops can help Texas? I do. A lot, actually. Not a little, but a lot. I don't have any question he can help them out a lot. Wow. 12:27. I finally mentioned Stoops. Didn't even mention JQ, which we'll get into with Jonathan Davis, which I think is interesting. See where Reed Shepherd got his first double-double? I'm telling you, I retweet his highlights all the time. The one the other day where he crossed the midcourt line, not a fast break, doesn't look to pass. He pulled up at the logo and hit a three. It's unbelievable. What was it? I said the other day. Was it 50, 49, and high 80s? 50% from the field. I think it was 49% from downtown and close to 90 or around there since the All-Star game. Now, last night changed it a little bit. The last two games probably changed it, but he's been playing absolutely, unequivocally, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'll tell you what, to me, they're an unbelievable organization. Quantrill with the Subarus, the Cadillacs, the Volvos. Not only are they great cars, but it's a people organization that takes care of you. They really are. I like the people they hired. I've talked to Mark, who's a friend, about what he does when he's looking for people and they are looking people to hire. It's really lovely. It is. How they go about business. And they've been here forever. And they will work with you. We now have 3 cars from Quantrill. That's not an accident. This started long before I was doing this show on LM Communications and 1300 AM and 92.5 FM. But in particular, the Volvo, because we have it now. The XC60. It's a hybrid. You get 41 miles before you dip into gas. We are saving lots of money on gas. We are. And in 43 years of being with Judy, it's the best car we've ever had. It really is. There's plenty of room. It's an amazing drive on the road. It's got plenty of pop and power. It really is. It's a beautiful thing. We like it tremendously. Check them out. Plus, Brentley and Mark, they run the place, and they're friends of mine. They are. And they're good dudes on top of it. And they run the dealership the right way. So visit QuantrillVolvo.com. See dealer for details. Jonathan Davis coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
March is here, and Clark's Beverage Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up Bud Dig Lunch Meat 5 for $5 and Jolly Rancher Shackalicious or Twizzler Peg Bags 2 for $6. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler, and I've spent years on these roads, and safety isn't a slogan to me, it's real life. That's one reason I trust Volvo. Quantrill Volvo has been part of this community for years. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine, and they run the dealership the right way with care, integrity, and real respect for the people they serve. If safety, smart design, and peace of mind matter to you, start your search at Quantrill Volvo. We have the XC60, the hybrid. We love it. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth. And we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrillVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
I think I'm doing all right at it right now. Just got to keep it going, like I said. But shout out to coaches. They've been helping me each and every day. I feel like each and every day I'm improving, just learning things out there, watching film. So just doing what I can to do for this team to win.
How different is it than the role that you expected when you signed with Kentucky versus what it is right now?
Very different. But like I said, I thank God every day. I'm just going in, learning new things, getting better at my craft. So I can't complain right now.
Aberdeen has been great. Not good, but great. And I looked bad for a while because I said early on that he would end up being a better player than Lowe. And when he started playing well, remember that first good game? I'm trying to remember who it was. I said this could be the start of something. It was. And I thought he was going to be really, really good as a point guard. Now he's honestly exceeded my expectation. When you don't turn the damn ball over at all, I don't care if you've been playing point guard for 1,000 years, you're better than I expected. I'm just being honest. But to me, he's been a scoring point guard. And initially, I'm going to bring in our special guest in a second. I want to lay this out, and then I'm going to do something that he'll love. I'm shut up, actually, and hear his thoughts. I think initially he couldn't figure out what to do, but that's a process. He was dribbling too much and being selfish a little bit too much. But instead of me just calling him selfish, which he was, I think it was in a process of a feel. And I think the coaches have worked with him. And now I think he's got a great feel. I think he's got a future playing basketball. If he's a shooting guard, it's tough for him to make the NBA. He's good enough defensively to play the NBA. And if he can play both 1 and 2 coming off the bench, kid's got a shot at making it now because he can score now. He can score. And his confidence in some of the threes he takes up are really fast. I love how he's playing. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I like the background you have. It says JT Davis Asset Management, the amazingly successful Jonathan Davis. And you're not on Twitter much. I don't know if you saw it, but I said you were shy coming on as a guest. So try to get over your shyness.
I won't try to do that. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too, brother. So what do you think as Mr. Davis played for Patino way back in the day? And you've aged well. I don't know if it's the fact you got no hair because you don't have white hair, but you've really aged well. Well, you take care of yourself.
It'd be great right here in the beard, though, man. I mean, I can't really, got one or two in there. Yeah,
got 1 or 2, but I got. So what do you think of my little Aberdeen thing and the fact that? Give me your second part of this answer as well. Have these kids finally got their act together, or this is going to be up and down?
I hate doing this, Alan, but I agree with you 100%. I mean, I don't have anything to add, really. I guess I'll just regurgitate what you said. I know, you're shocked. But you're right. At the beginning of the season, you can almost see Aberdeen's wheels turning when he had the ball in his hands. Should I try to no? Should I shoot it? No. And before you know it, 5 seconds has passed, which, as you know, 5 seconds in a basketball game is a long time to be standing there pounding the ball to the floor. And it was just because, like you said, he was trying to figure out in his head what to do. Now, though, at this last third part of the season, he is playing much more reflexively. He's playing on instinct. He's doing the things that make him a good player, which is to attack, and that is to draw attention to himself, and also he's a very good passer. I mean, when he goes in the middle of the lane and the pocket collapses on him, he does a really good job of finding somebody else. He does a great job of reading the defense and throwing the ball to where the defense came from. For example, if a secondary defender collapses from your left on your left hand, he had to leave his man. So that means that your man is now somewhere behind him. He can throw a blind pass over there. He's gotten really good at finding blind people or finding people blind, I guess. Not knowing they're there for sure, but pretty much knowing that that's where the help came from. And he's playing much more reflexively and showing in his game.
Do you believe that this team has it together?
That's a stretch when you say together. Again, I'm not a person that makes excuses. You know me. I'm always, very blunt and very honest in my assessments. At the end of the day, Alan, we are still down 3 starters. I mean, how do you replace 3 starters? No matter how good your second guys are, they were second unit guys for a reason. We've had guys that are playing much better than we thought they would. We have guys that are stepping up, and they're doing a really good job of embracing the concept of next man up, which is what you want in a good team. And I got to give Mark credit for this. I mean, he's kept kids engaged that could have checked out. He's kept kids, engaged who struggled early. Fans were on them. I'm sure they were on themselves. I'm sure their confidence levels were collectively very low. But we haven't gotten to him, haven't talked about him. Chandler, he's playing at an all-conference level right now as well. And there was a stretch there where we all have questioned, why is he in the game? And let's just be honest. There were stretches of games where he wasn't earning his spot. He was not commanding the number of minutes that he got, but Mark stuck with him. He worked through some things. His wheels also were turning a lot as to what I should do. And now he too is playing very reflexively. If he catches the ball on the wing and no one's guarding him, hand down, man down, bam. He's taking that shot very quickly. And more importantly, shooting the basketball with confidence. When the ball leaves his hand, he believes it's going in. And to that respect, we now believe the ball is going in. Because there was a stretch of 4 or 5 games there when he shot the ball. Oh, no. Oh, my God. He's shooting it again. Because he didn't believe it was going in. But now he believes, so we can get behind it. We can believe every time he lets the ball go. We also believe it's going to go in now. Been a lot of fun to watch the last couple of games.
This is really going to be enjoyable for me. I disagree strongly with just a smidgen of your premise. Just a smidgen. When you said guys are coming off the bench for a reason, I'm going to put it this way, Jonathan Davis, who I respect. I don't get the chance to do this very often, to respectfully disagree, and I'm getting you nervous. Matter of fact, your forehead's about to sweat.
It beats a sweat, yes. Very nervous, very nervous.
Seriously. So I'm not going to rip Cal for this. I'm not going to rip Pope for this. I think it's an evolution. So SGA was on the bench, and then SGA became a star. And he was on the bench for a reason. I'm purposely not getting to this year because at the time, Cal thought, and he had so much into, was it Green as a point guard, won state championships and all that kind of stuff. And so he was going with that. I also think it was a wink-wink deal that he knew Quade Green was going to start, and Quade Green ended up being, I think, a very mediocre point guard at Kentucky. And I think he peaked in high school, which happens sometimes. Not ripping the kid, but he wasn't very good. Can't make a layup and you put the ball on the floor. To me, as a point guard, you're almost gone. Neither here nor there. And so SGA got better and better and better and improved. He took over. So he was on the bench for a reason that the coach didn't think he was good enough to start. Vis-a-vis now with Lowe and Aberdeen wasn't the point guard last year. He did play some point, and when he did, his numbers were actually pretty good. But Lowe was the point guard. He was here to be the point guard. I'm not blaming Pope because that's what he needed to do. Guys improve all the time during the season. Some improve more than others. You are watching a young man who has improved so much, it's absolutely off the charts. So when you say he's playing with, 3 starters out, I'm going to beg to differ. Yes, you are correct. He's playing with 3 starters out. But Aberdeen's a much better basketball player.
He is now. But
Right.
It wasn't when the season started. And when the season started, Alan, the best point guard, he's got a hurt shoulder right now on our team.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But I said before I said I thought Aberdeen was going to end up being a better point guard a long, long time ago. Here's the point, and it looks like I was never going to find out. And I wish Lowe all the success in the world. Lowe doesn't play defense. He just doesn't play defense. And I tell you the other thing I didn't like about him, I didn't like the fact that he played hero ball way too much for a guy his size. He looked for himself way too much. I hope he comes back next year. I hope he's healthy, and I hope he learns to share the ball a little more. But there were times, and you know it because we talked about it, at the end of the shot clock, he wasn't looking to give the ball to anybody. I'm taking the ball. I'm taking the shot. And his shot's very inconsistent. He doesn't shoot form-wise the same way, and his shot isn't very good, and I thought he was pretty selfish. I'm just telling you that, and I've said this many times. This is not like the first time. So what happens is with teams, sometimes another guy shows to be better. And so I don't believe when that happens. This is me. I do not believe when that happens, he's playing without three starters. I don't. I believe he's playing, you could say, maybe without two, because the right guy now is starting, and it's kind of sad that Lowe is out. You see how we disagree or no?
I'm honestly, I agree. I agree to the respect of, where we are right now. Aberdeen is obviously the better of the two at point guard. Let's go back to what you said about Quad A. Green and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. When they stepped on campus, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was not the guy. He became the guy. An opportunity opened up for him where he was able to go out there and get better and better, but he wasn't the guy when he got on campus. And had Quad A. Green perform at the level that we thought he could perform at, been healthy and playing 25 minutes a game, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander would have had to wait another year to get on the court.
All true.
I mean, he was like the fifth guy out of five guys we signed there. He wasn't anywhere. Nobody thought of him being the guy. He
Not
came
big.
here. He was not a one and done. He was not a one and done when he got here. But he was one and done when he left. And it's happened very quickly, and sometimes it does. And I'm happy for him. And, we got a situation not quite as dramatic, but similar of a guy having a huge trajectory upward in their playing abilities in Aberdeen. Again, when Aberdeen got here, he wasn't a point guard by any stretch of the imagination. He was a defensive guy, a smallish two guard, plays hard, but nobody thought of him as being a distributor, a guy who collapses his pocket. He collapses his pockets now. He goes into the lane looking to draw a second and third defender because it opens up easy layups and easy threes. He's looking for that now. True point guard mentality. And like you said, the way he's playing right now, if he can carry this on, this becomes his identity as a ball player, he's got a chance to play a long time in the NBA. A long time because he plays defense.
I think Aberdeen is going to play in the NBA forever. And
he's going to get a shot. He most certainly is. The way he's playing right now is fantastic.
When SGA showed up in campus, I had no clue he'd even be starting. I mean, I'm not trying to make it into something it's not because I didn't. But my point is when a guy ends up improving to the point that you didn't see or understand, but people do improve, and that person overtakes the person who was in there, and the person in there is injured, it's not playing without three starters. You actually, this sounds disgusting, you actually improved your team with Lowell not being here. You did.
Yes. We agree 100% on that, yes.
So therefore, it's not playing without three starters.
That's fair. You know what? I'll buy that.
I got you to agree, and it only took about 4 minutes.
I was going to say you had to use a lot of words, but you got to your point, and yeah, we're on the same page.
You saying I used a lot of words?
Used a lot of words, which is unusual for you, But you made a fair point. Right now, the best point guard on our team is on the court.
I'm going to go this way. I think he's one of the best point guards in the Southeastern Conference.
He's very good. He's going to get a chance to be all conference. He's playing very, very well right now. And he's a big reason why we're, still in the hunt here. It's not over yet.
Different topic for a second. Do you think Owe is going harder to the basket now than he was before?
1,000%. He's playing to his strength. Somebody got to him and says, dude, your strength is putting your head down like a fullback and just getting to the basket. He's going back. He leads with that. Doesn't mean he's not taking any shot in threes or any jumpers, but he leads with his strength. And it goes back to something that I talked about this before, is that my son trained with an old pro, John Lucas, out in Houston. And as you know, John Lucas was left-handed. And he's told me on more than one occasion, guys talk about, work on your weak hand and get better with going in both directions. John Lucas said, I scored 7,000 points in the NBA. I scored 6,900 of them, 999 of them with my left hand. He says, go to your strength and make them stop you. Until they stop you, don't focus on trying to strengthen up a weakness. right now, obviously, always weakness is outside shooting and jump shots, but his strength, Alec, is driving to the basket and making people foul him. If you lead with that, the other things will follow. A lot of opportunities will come along. He was leading with jump shots in the beginning, and that wasn't working. Now he's leading with his strength, which driving to the basket. That's what's working for him. It's making us a better team.
By the way, I don't know the numbers now. It's a terrible thing to say, but I don't. But there was a point not that long ago where in catch and shoot, Owe was one of the better three-point shooters in the country.
Mhm.
It's when he wasn't catching and shooting, his numbers went way down. So his
Right.
shot has gone up. But I agree with everything you're saying, but I'm trying something else. I think he's going, hear me out this time. I think he's going harder and faster to the bucket. I don't think he was going slow before, but it's like he's gone from fourth gear to a fifth gear, and he seems to be making a higher percentage. That's where I was coming from. Or is that my imagination just watching on TV?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but wasn't he hurt when the season started? Did he have an injury or something?
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's going to slow you down. You can't go full speed thinking, what if I hurt my thing again? I mean, that played some part into taking more jump shots. I don't want to go in there and get banged up and hurt myself again. So he was playing tentative that first 8-10 games of the season. He was tentative.
Okay, let me go past that first 8 or 10 games. In other words, okay, you're right, but that's not what I'm saying. When you go past those first 8 or 10 games, when he started becoming the OA getting 20 points.
Yes.
Forget the first part. He was going to the basket a certain way. Start in your mind mentally from there. Today, I think he's going to the bucket faster and even harder than he was when he first started getting this point a game streak. That's where I'm coming from.
I get you.
He seems like he's freaking ferocious. Not that he wasn't before. Not that he was wimpy before. He was going hard before. Maybe it's my imagination. He's almost like a blur to me. Boom. And he seems to be more often than not getting a little closer to the basket when he puts the ball up and having a little more control. This is just with the naked eye. I don't, I don't have film analyze, but I look at stuff and it just seems like he's going harder. He's got more confidence, but I don't think this is way past the injury. That's where I'm coming from.
I get you. You know what? I can agree with that. I mean, he is going to the basket very, very hard. Probably even harder now than he was at the beginning of the season. I'll agree with that.
Okay. Buckyball. It's interesting. They're on a bad streak, but they still are scoring 88 points a game, Kentucky 81. That doesn't really matter to me because the game is the game. And they're going to shoot more threes, but they haven't been shooting well recently. And they're fighting for their NC2A life, whereas 8 games ago, I thought they were locked to get in. And then they've had the 6 out of 8 game bad streak and that kind of stuff. But I'm looking at it, and when Kentucky has played poorly, turnovers have been a problem. Recently, was it 4 games? He's got 16-1 or something like that. Assist to turnovers. I can look it up. It was something like that Aberdeen has. That's ridiculous. If Kentucky has 15 or more turnovers tonight, they're probably going to lose. Mm-hmm. If they keep it around 10 against this press, I don't see almost how they lose unless all of a sudden Texas A&M shoots a ridiculously high percentage of threes. Does that coincide with what you're thinking about tonight, Jonathan Davis?
It does. One thing that hurts us, going back to being, down some starters, one thing that hurts us is that by the Williams kid being out, he's a very good perimeter defender. And that's a weakness that we have as a team is perimeter defense. We got a lot of guys that can shoot the basketball, can do some things, but even Chandler, who's very athletic, he's not a great one-on-one defender. He's not great because guarding the basketball, it's not just physical abilities. There's some skills there to be learned that he's not quite got there yet, playing at their speed on the defensive end. So again, if they make a bunch of threes or we do a poor job of containing the perimeter, we can go home with an L tomorrow. We sure could. Or today.
Yeah, tonight.
I
guess it's not a big game because it's on ESPN too, not the big ESPN. Do you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
If they were playing Louisville, would it be on ESPN?
It'd be on ESPN at the prime time hour. Yeah.
If Kentucky loses tonight and they end up playing on Wednesday in the SEC, they're not 100-1 to make it to the championship game. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
It's a
must win.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, we all know Florida's tough, and Florida is the best team in the league and stuff like that. But I will stand by this that Florida will probably lose a game between now and the end of the year.
Mhm.
And whoever they lose to, it's probably going to be a situation where they are favored. And so, no matter what happens tonight, will Kentucky be underdogs at home? Yeah, they should be
It
underdogs.
should be on paper.
That's
On
fine.
paper.
But I'm going to suggest they can beat Florida. Now they're going to have to play their fannies off, and first you got to win tonight, that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But they can beat Florida. They can. I'm not suggesting they will, but I'm not going to be as shocked as everyone else. Does that go with your genre?
It does 100%. I mean, there's some things that really went right for Florida when we played them down there. For one, the lead kid, he was phenomenal. I mean, but he make like three pointers, like three buckets right to the right early in the game. He shot the ball extremely well, much better than he had in the previous 4 or 5 games to the point where we had to make some adjustments on him, and we were able to do it. We did not have a perimeter guy that could lock him down or take him out of what he wanted to do, and that hurts. And I feel like I don't believe that Florida could come up here and shoot the basketball the way they shot the basketball down. It was their home gym. When they come up here, I think they're gonna play with more confidence. I see us winning by 5 or 6 points. I do.
Mitch Barnhart is retiring.
Yes, I heard that.
You giving him an A, a B, a C, a D? What are you giving him?
That's a good question. I had thought about that. Obviously, he's done some great things. He brought in some coaches that have done well for Kentucky. We've had some success. They're like most people that have been in a job for a very long period of time. It's easy for us to sit back, outside of the arena that he's in, and to nitpick and to find things that we would have done differently or things we did not agree with. But I would say by and large, he had a good administration, and he leaves Kentucky in better shape than what he took over with, and that we really don't have too many complaints. And I wish Mitch the best. Wish him the best.
Well, if you don't improve the place and you're here 24 years, you really sucked. And
Yeah. And he's done that. He's done, especially with the other sports.
Yes.
The women's sports and the sports that don't generate revenue. He's done a really good job. He's done a great job of shoring up those programs and making us competitive. National champions in volleyball. I mean, who would have thought that? When I played in Kentucky, we were a one-team school, basketball and nothing else. And he's changed that culture. And from that perspective, I applaud him for that.
I don't believe for a second, and I'm not taking anything away from Mitch, that he made an emphasis in baseball too. I mean, you can
baseball,
go on.
Same thing, yeah.
He's absolutely unequivocally improved the minor sports. It was a priority for him. I like and respect how he has deemed that a volleyball player or a baseball player on scholarship also has moms and dads, and they are just as important. I respect the heck out of it.
Sure.
But I will say this, and this could happen to anybody. The amount of money that you get from television, from the Southeastern Conference, because of their contract, has a lot to do with the facilities that Mitch is getting credit for.
Yes.
I am not taking a word away from Mitch. I'm really not. But not to point out that all of a sudden there was this huge influx in money would be ludicrous and stupid. And now you could earmark the money in other places.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, when I got here, the track itself was old. It was lousy.
Dirt track. I mean, like a high school track. It was terrible.
It was terrible. And there were high school programs
that had better tracks. I know.
Had better tracks. And it took him a long time for him to fix it. But, he look at what he did for the track program, too. But there was money to do it. And he earmarked it. There's no question about it. But it took way too long to get a recruiting room. Rich Brooks bringing recruits in. It was terrible. I don't know if you know where they took recruits?
Richard Brooks? I don't know. No.
The Nutter Center, the indoor Nutter Center. And they would be at the front and they'd lay these tables out and stuff like that, where the other schools are competing with the SEC was much better. It took way too long to fix that. And by the way, now Kentucky has a really nice recruiting room like everybody does. So there's an ebb and flow here.
Sure.
I mean, do I give him a positive check mark? Absolutely.
Yes.
And as I said in my monologue, the guy was here for 24 years. He turned out to be one of the most powerful, influential athletics directors in the country. I respect that. And, his minions are ADs in places like Florida, Alabama, Oregon, DePaul. It's pretty powerful.
Yes.
And that doesn't happen if Mitch wasn't respected as a guy who hired really good people and allowed them to do his job. So I respect that too. But the Cal contract was dumber than a box of rocks, and I said it at the time. The Stoops contract was dumber than a box of rocks. The Kyra Elsie contract was dumber than a box of rocks. I questioned the Mingione contract when he got that huge contract. We know he had that great first year, and he didn't do well. Now he's turned out to be a great head coach. But I questioned the amount that he gave him there too. So he's had some bad contract as well. Yes or no?
In addition to those bad contracts, I'll throw something else out there. I don't know if I talked about this on the air or not. I think you and I talked about this, and that is I went to Mitch. This would have been 2017, long before NIL became a thing, and I approached him about how about maybe symbolically giving players back their NIL, their name, image, and likeness, because when we signed those letters of intent, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago, we didn't know what we were even signing. And as time went on, we understood more about what we had signed away and how it enriched the university and the programs we played for, but it didn't really benefit the players from a financial aspect. And he didn't really want to talk about it. And in addition to that, this is something that's public knowledge. And once NIL did become, I guess, the law of the land, he was slow to embrace it and slow to figure out, how do we get our war chest up and how do we participate in all this? He was very slow to that, even though he either knew or he knew or should have known that if we don't jump in front of this thing, we're going to fall behind. And we did, and we're still behind the 8 ball on NIL. Even though, like I said, even if he didn't want to listen to me or hear anything I had to say, it was common knowledge that at some point this is going to happen. And he was very slow to act there, which is why I don't give him an A grade on this. I can't. We're still behind the ball on NIL. And that falls at the leadership's feet.
NIL is the biggest change that everybody knows in the history of college.
But it wasn't in a vacuum, Alan. It didn't just all of a sudden, oh my God, NIL. This was going on for years behind the scenes. A lot of things that we really can't talk about on air that people knew about, that he could have done something about, and he chose not to. He chose not to. Because I know he was told, because I personally told him, or at least asked him, let's take a look at this. He didn't want to talk about it. Okay.
A, B, C, D.
C+. And a big part of that's because of NIL.
The worst thing to do on radio is have dead air, right?
I know.
You know why I have all this dead air?
Why?
I agree with you.
You're agreeing with me?
I have a pain in my side.
Yeah.
Could have hired Cal the first time.
Yeah.
He hired Billy Gillespie.
Yep.
Got lucky with a couple, one contract, got really lucky. Did a lot of wonderful things for young people.
Fantastic.
For example, Derek Abney loves Mitch. You can't say anything to Derek Abney. You can't say a word. And by the way, I'm good with that. Mm-hmm. And so he cared about his student athletes.
He did.
But I have a simplistic thing. If there's a new rule, let's forget about Mitch. I don't give a crap if you like it or not. You got to adjust to the rule.
Ignoring it does not help. As a matter of fact, it made a situation worse because he ignored it. He intentionally ignored it. It is surprising. He just chose not to deal with it until it was here.
Well, one of the other things I thought was ridiculous too, and to me it was a big deal. Not a big deal, but it's a big deal. The fact that in the suites you can be drinking the best bourbon, right? But the fans,
the commoners, that's right.
And some of those commoners pay a lot of money to get their tickets.
That's right.
And not even the cheap tickets aren't cheap. But to me, that was a dichotomy that was absolute BS.
Yes.
That should have been changed. Here, we have a caste system, and I'm not treating you the same, but we want your money as well.
Yeah. There are other things, but like I said, the ones we can talk about on the air, those are all very obvious. Those are all very well known.
We need to have a cup of coffee about two things.
When you get ready.
Yeah, okay, and I'm going to say this publicly. You're going to go tell me to go jump in the lake, which you enjoy doing. Not as much as my wife does, but you enjoy doing. We're going to talk privately about, will you talk about something publicly? But in all kidding aside, my thing with you and Chip and anybody who does the show consistently, which I appreciate tremendously, I never want anybody to say something on the show to help the show if it hurts them.
I appreciate that.
And you know that, Chip knows that, Gene knows. I mean, just I don't need better radio to hurt somebody. Now, with my big mouth, I do what the hell I want, but I don't have the right to do it to you or Chip or whatever. So, okay, I'm later than hell. Give me. Okay. Oh, this is good. This is good. I'm going to do this.
Oh no.
This is good. Matter of fact, I'm going to do this to have you know this is going to be equal opportunity to Bo and Doug, and I can't wait to when Chip joins. Oh, Jimmy. I bet you steal this today. This is how good this is. I had an epiphany. If you had to write an epitaph for Mitch Barnhart as athletics director, may he live another 100 years. That's not where I'm coming from. But an epitaph is a few lines. You know, you put on a stone. If you had to put on a monument on Mitch, because he might have a street named after him or something like that. What would you say in your epitaph? You got 2 lines.
Oh wow. Here lies.
No,
Mitch
he's not. No, he's not.
We're not putting him in the grave, my bad.
He listened now.
That's how epitaphs normally start. It's like, here lies this dead guy who's now dead.
Somebody's going to say Jonathan Davis.
What kind of question is this?
No.
You're doing too much, man. You're doing too much.
Okay, let's try it this way. Wow, I thought I explained it properly. I did a terrible job. For what you would write on an epitaph, for what you would write as a closing comment for a man who's finishing his career, and I can't do it now. We already did it, but Jenna Lipson's tweet about the lawsuits going on with sexual accusations and stuff like that, she put out today. And was definitely wondering if there was timing to this. I'll send it to you. You're not on Twitter, and so there's good and bad with everything. Forget the epitaph. Give me 3 lines that would surmise Mitch's time here in 24 years, good, bad, or whatever you think.
I think, first and foremost is that he did a great job of shoring up, the minor sports and giving them, they're just due, the time in the sun. He could have done better with addressing NIL, especially very early before it became, codified. There are things we could have done, even just symbolically, that would have brought goodwill to the university and would have made it easier for kids and parents to make a decision and send their kids, to UK, especially the football and basketball kids. There are things they could have done to make Kentucky a more viable option and make it more palatable to them. But by and large, having said all that, by and large, his legacy is one that is overwhelmingly positive for the most part.
And the lawsuits, does that take it down?
I don't know enough about what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, obviously there are lawsuits, but like I said, I'm not in a loop on that. This is my thing about me personally. You know this about me. I'm not really big on wild speculation. When I say something, I probably have at least a kernel of truth or enough information in my hand that even my quote unquote speculations they're based in some truth. And it's never just me sitting at home in my underwear trying to think up something to throw at somebody. So I don't know enough about it. If I don't know enough about it, I will respectfully decline to comment. I don't know enough about that. I don't.
Accusations, lawsuits.
Yes.
It's following him.
Okay.
Jonathan Davis, thank you for driving me absolutely crazy today.
Always.
I like that always. We couldn't have scripted this out if we tried it in a million years.
This is must-see TV.
Well, on YouTube, yes. I'm later than heck, but I don't care. Mr. Lanter, hang on. Give yourself a great plug for you.
Tell Todd I said, hey.
Okay.
JT Davis, Asset Management for all of your financial needs.
Next week, coffee.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Hey.
See you, brother.
You got to get over your shyness. I'm really worried about you.
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
Hey, Jonathan Davis, bless you, brother. Thank you so much.
Take it easy, bud. Bye-bye.
Hey, Jimmy, that was crazy.
What a way to end.
Can you imagine? Because, people, tune in for this part, that kind of stuff. Somebody dialing in at the moment where He said that about Mitch.
Yeah.
God bless you, Jonathan. God bless you, Jonathan Davis. Wow. Terry Page. She's a great licensed massage therapist now at 820 Porter Place, Suite 3. It's off for Sales Road. You go the end of the block of Porter Place, you go behind the building. You can park there. There's an entrance back there, and she moves. She's got a much bigger place. She's a great licensed massage therapist. You hear me say it all the time like a broken record, but it's true. For me, she's a great licensed massage therapist, and many of you have gone to see her because I talk about her. And many of you have said, hey, I'm glad you talk about her. So it's a beautiful thing. Terry Page, 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. Mr. Lanter coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Ready to feel the surge? Because Cadillac just turned the dial all the way up. At Quantrell Cadillac, innovation meets raw performance. From head-turning electric models to bold, gas-powered luxury machines built to move fast. We've owned fast. We loved fast. Right now, get 2.9% APR for 60 months on many electric models and 3.4% APR for 36 months on many gas-powered models. That's premium power with serious momentum behind it. Hit the throttle today at QuantrellCadillac.com. See dealer for details.
March is here, and Clark's Pub and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up Bud Dig Lunch Meat 5 for $5 and Jolly Rancher Shackalicious or Twizzler Peg Bags 2 for $6. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
W223CV Lexington.
ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5, WLXG Lexington, and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Definitely all the games at Rupp, just seeing all the people, the fans, the atmosphere, just being going crazy for us, cheering us on throughout the whole year, and probably being Tennessee at home. You know, it's a great rivalry. Tennessee's a great team, but just seeing all the atmosphere and how things are here is just amazing.
Did that live up to the hype?
Most definitely it did. It was loud.
It was loud. Aberdeen talking about his experience at Rupp Arena as Saturday is the last game. And Jimmy, if you get clip number 3 of Owe talking about it as well, it's time here. Give me a thumbs up. Let's play that, and then I want Mr. Landon to talk about that before we get into other stuff, just the beauty of playing for Kentucky.
Maybe your kind of place in UK basketball?
Nah, I have. I mean, I have. Just little talks at home, you know, with my family. But, you know, I still feel like we got a lot of season left, so I'm trying not to, you know, get too emotional. But it's definitely gonna feel some type of way, you know, last home game. But, you know, these last 2 years has been amazing.
The last 2 years have been amazing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, a man who played guard for Joe B. back in the day. It was well after Mr. Lincoln was in the White House. I want to get this clear. Bo Lanter, hello, friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. So you tell me, is this team finally got their act together, or is this going to be up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down? I'm suspecting they really have gotten it together.
You know, it seems to be, I mean, like you said, up and down, up and down, up and down. I'm looking forward to Saturday. I think it's whether we win or not, but just play well, build some confidence, realize you can play with anybody. But this team's been hard to figure out. I think now that a couple of guys have figured out their role with some of the injuries and some of the guys not coming back. I think they're starting to settle in a little bit better, and it's given them a little more confidence, and they're actually playing well. But I think Saturday with Florida is going to be a big opportunity to build their confidence, hopefully.
Well, no one will be shocked if Florida wins the national championship, or Michigan wins the national championship, or Arizona wins the national championship, or Houston, or even St. John's, or a few other teams, and that's fine. But the point is, they're not invincible, and the odds are still pretty good. Florida's going to lose another game, and whoever they lose to, it probably will be to someone where they're going to call it an upset. So, in other words, as special as Florida is, and they are special, they can be beat at Rupp Arena. That's just I mean, they're not invincible. This is not the 76th Indiana Hoosier team.
I agree, and that's why I say I think coming in Saturday would be huge. Hopefully we can beat them, but if we don't beat them, but we at least play well, build our confidence. Florida looked absolutely awesome against Arkansas the other night. I mean, they were actually fun to watch. They actually play the way I wish we were playing, getting up and down the floor. The bigs are getting up and down the floor. They seem to be pretty deep. They got good ball handlers. They got good shooters. And I would just love to see us play that way again, because I don't think we have been.
Bucky Ball tonight. It's kind of interesting. About 9 games ago, he was deemed as the next up and coming whatever. By the way, and I still think it was a hell of a hire. I wonder if they've run out of steam with his style. In the second year, it's always easier to recruit the layer effect. I think A&M did a really good job hiring him. I like his style. I've watched him play. They're going to press. The point is this: Aberdeen has been spectacular about not turning it over. But if Kentucky gets turned over 15 times, A&M, who's shoots, I think, the second most threes in the conference, first, second, I believe it's second. They have a decent night shooting, and they have not been shooting decently as of late. Kentucky can easily lose tonight, but they got to take care of the damn ball.
Yeah, I agree. And like we've said 1,000 times on this show, that three ball makes a huge difference. And if a team like that is knocking down threes, there's a problem. But you go on the other side too. If we're knocking down threes, we create a lot of problems, and it's easier to do that, in a home atmosphere when the crowd gets into it, which there's no place anybody wants to go and play any more than Rupp Arena. Teams like to come in here and try to be spoilers. Kentucky's fan gets into it, and hopefully Kentucky steps up and knocks down some threes. But the three balls just changed it so much. As you know, I'm an old guy. We didn't have shot clocks and three-pointers back in my days, but I think the way that's changed the game in the last 20 years has been phenomenal. I say 20 years. How long did they come in 86?
I'm going blank on the year.
I think it was 85, 86. But so it's to me, that was such a change, because I remember growing up the old Phil Ford days at North Carolina, and games were, four corner and 8 to 12. And I just think as the game has evolved, first shot clocks and three-pointers, and of course now it's NIL and transfer portals and kids making money. It's just changed so much over the last 40 years. It's crazy.
1986-87, and I did have to look it up.
Yeah.
Good
I was
memory.
thinking it was and what year did Rex come in? Was that 85, 86?
Yeah, Rex came in when I was in Pittsburgh, and then I was here for Rex's final season.
So I think that was right around the time the started.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The women picked it up a year later.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't pick it up right away, but neither here nor there. Okay. A, B, C, D, or E. What grade right now do you give Pope if the season ended? And the season hasn't ended. They could end up doing some magical things. Maybe not, but they could. And I'm open-minded that they could.
It's really difficult I like Pope. I think Pope's great for the program. I think Pope's intentions are to get extremely athletic teams in here, get up and down the floor, stay focused on defense, have an exciting game getting up and down the floor. But I don't think we are as loaded as he would like and as deep as he would like. Obviously, injuries cause a lot of problems. I think if the team was healthy and all the guys were playing and doing what they were brought here to do, I think it would be a huge difference. So judging Pope with those injuries, such major injuries, is fairly difficult to do. I would be curious to hear him answer that question. What would he give himself? I think when you look at a win-loss record, you're looking at a C minus a C plus or a B minus. I think at personnel with injuries that he has no control over, that obviously goes along with that win-loss record. So I don't know. I would probably say a B minus. I think he's a very intelligent coach. I think as he handles the recruiting and NIL and transfer portals, and he seems to be really good on analytics and numbers. I think if he can focus on transfer portals and getting the right type of people in here that play the way he wants to play, I think time will tell. But I also think Kentucky fans get kind of short on time and want to see results quickly. And that's just hard to do nowadays, especially with everybody transferring in and out and the portals and NIL. It's just tough to do.
It is tough to do. By the way, Jenna Lifton just put up that Barnhart will not be leaving UK after concluding his duties as AD on June 30th. He'll be joining the UK Sport and Workforce Initiative as the first executive in residence. I don't know what the hell that means. I guess it'll be released or something like that. But it sounds like he will have another job, but just not perhaps as intense as being the AD. And it's going to be interesting. This has nothing to do with Mitch over the next 10 years, how the role of athletics director is going to change. It's just going to change. And I've talked about it a number of times. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to be a bean counter, but it's going to be totally different. It has to be totally different because of NIL and stuff like that.
I agree. And I really like Mitch Barnhart. I think he's done a really good job in a lot of areas. But also, when you're in the public eye with a job like AD at the University of Kentucky, and you're not only dealing with rules and NIL and transfer portals and salaries and coaches and facilities fundings and minor sports, major sports, girls sports, guys sports, and accusations come and go with every job. And I just think a job like that in the public eye, I don't like people saying things bad about me, and I don't have a public eye, not in the public eye like that. And you just deal with so much. And I actually have a lot of respect for the job that Mitch has done. I know there are some things that he would change and accusations and things like that, but overall, with the changes that have happened in the last 40 years and facilities and rule changes and funding and facilities, I think overall he's done a fairly good job. Would he have done things? Could he do things different? He probably would change a few things, but all in all, I'd give him about a B minus probably.
Okay, and I'm not taking this away from Mitch, by the way, and I said this before exactly this way, because this is not a shot. One of the things that helped him tremendously is all the TV dollars that allowed him to build things, but that doesn't mean you have to earmark it the way they did. And the softball and this and that and the other and Kentucky Pride Park. I mean, they were built with his blessings, but he had the money to do it. There are some schools that don't have the money. It's because you're in the SEC. Again, I'm not taking anything away from it, and he did a great job with the small sports. As you were talking, I'm reading the release now from Kentucky. Let me throw this out here. Then I want you to respond also, Mr. Lantner. You're very serious today because we're in a series because I didn't know. Trust me. You know what I thought I was going to lead with today? Mark Stoops going to Texas. When I went to last night, and that came in about 12:27. So the old you prepare a show, whatever, it goes out there. It just everything's floatable. So Capilouto, the president, is quote, Mitch Barnhart has led the University of Kentucky for nearly a quarter century. It is with profound mixed of emotions that we announce Mitch will be leaving his position as the UK athletics director at the end of June. Mitch often speaks of the idea that our goal at UK is for student athletes to place championship rings on their fingers and diplomas in their hands. Those weren't mere words. They were aspirations that he continually has helped our program, our people, and our students meet. And I do believe he really cared about student athletes. I have never, even though with what the lawsuits are going on, there are a lot of student athletes that love Mitch. The lawsuits baffles me like crazy for a couple things I'm not going to say on the show. He said, after thoughtful discussions, this is Capilouto, I am gratified that he, meaning Mitch, has agreed to stay on and write another new and exciting chapter. He will be the first executive in residence at the UK Sports and Workforce Initiative. The initiative will be part of a workforce effort that I mentioned in my remarks recently to the Board of Trustees that I will be announcing with more details in the coming weeks. I have no idea what the hell that is, but we'll find out. I'm not going to guess. I have no clue. The point is he's staying on, but kind of moving over. And it can't be as intense of a job as being athletics director is my guess, and that seems pretty obvious. Yes?
Well, and I also think it's going to be beneficial for whoever steps in to be the AD to have Mitch's expertise and background as to how he handled and what himself feels like he did right or wrong. I think having him on board for a while would be beneficial for that person.
And plus, give under his tenure, excuse me, the GPA average for student athletes, I think, has been spectacular. Spectacular.
I agree, but how's that going to change along with everything else now with, again, transfer portals, people in and out, and it's I don't know how you handle GPAs and with some of the major sports anyway. Obviously, some of the minor sports, it's not as critical. People aren't coming and going quite as much, but I would think that GPA would be affected negatively.
I don't see how it couldn't.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't see how it couldn't. By the way, my thought is, and I've said this a number of times, Kentucky's a better basketball team without Lowe there. I'm sorry the kid got hurt. I wish him the best. I hope he comes back 100%. I hope he comes back better than before. So, my thing with Jonathan Davis, he said, well, Kentucky's playing without 3 starters. I have this thing. This is a Cutler thing, that when someone ends up starting, and SGA is a perfect example. Who knew SGA was going to end up starting the year, no less becoming maybe the best basketball player in the world? Nobody knew that stuff. But when somebody, as people improve and grow during the year, get better, to me, he's not playing without 3 starters. He's only playing without a couple of starters because Aberdeen's a much better basketball player. He's a much better basketball player. And I thought he would be better than Lowe. I said it a long time ago, and then I looked really bad because he wasn't. And so I don't think he's losing 3 starters. My fascination, if JQ was 100% the way you expected, this would be probably a top 15 team, maybe a top 10 team. And that's taking nothing away from Marino, who's just blossomed. And he probably wouldn't have blossomed as well. But if JQ was JQ the way we expected when he was healthy, I don't think that's a stretch, which means everybody would look at Pope differently. I'll shut up and you tell me your thoughts.
No, I agree completely. I think I hated to see Lowe hurt, but at the same time, I think Aberdeen has stepped up. I think it's helped his next step if he gets to play, gets in the NBA, because he has handled the ball so well. He's got, I think he's played how many minutes with 1 turnover? I mean, for him supposedly being a 2 guard, moving into that position and doing it so well, I think Kentucky gets up and down the floor quick. I think he does a great job distributing the ball. And if he doesn't get to the hole, he gets it to the right person. I think he's done great. JQ, the one game he came in and dominated, did fantastic, and then he's back out again. But yeah, there's no question. You put JQ back in the lineup, even with just making him available with this current roster. I think the game changes quite a bit. JQ's tough. JQ puts up some mean and toughness in the middle, which is what we need.
I think the biggest thing next year is, can you keep Marino? I bet they'll pay Marino whatever they have to keep him.
I don't know how much they're paying him to keep him. I don't know how much they're paying him now. Do you?
I've heard rumors.
Is it public knowledge? I didn't mean to walk. It's public knowledge.
No.
What they're getting paid. You can't. Okay.
Nope. If you're suggesting, do I think he's making $2 million? No. Do I think he's making over $1 million? My guess, based upon some conversations, like you have conversations, I have conversations.
Right.
My guess is yes. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Am I going to put your reputation on this, Mr. Lanter? No. No, but two of the most expensive players I think in the country, and I haven't looked at the whole country, but I look at a lot of numbers. The kid Hubbard from Mississippi State is going to get a hell of an offer. Can you imagine if he played with a real center? And Mississippi State, I think they have a good coach. They don't have a very good team. I mean, can you imagine Hubbard on this team? To me, can you think of two guys that are underclassmen that might make more money than Marino and Hubbard who won't go to the NBA? And I need to do more looking and stuff like that. But I think Marino's going to be offered a ton of money in all kinds of places, and I think they're going to up it. And I don't know squat, but it would seem to me if he doesn't go to the NBA that he will be here next year. I'm betting that he'll be here. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. It's just a guess and conjecture.
Well, I agree with that too. I think being a homegrown boy, I think adds to it. I think he wants to stay at UK and grow. I think he has faith in the coaching staff. I think Pope has his best interest at heart to make him a bigger, stronger player. When you're that age, when Todd came in after sitting out after a Gulf Coast and sat out a year, I put 21 pounds on him working out at the YMCA. I mean, you get to that age when you're about 18, you stop when you're growing, you're burning all the calories just growing. When you get to about 18, 19 and you're not burning up calories growing, then you can start putting on some meat. And I think Pope can help him put on some strength and some size in the next year that will change his life and opportunities in the NBA. And I think that's important.
I do too. Anything else about UK and Senior Cranium that we didn't talk about?
No, I think the whole thing with Stoops going to Texas, I wouldn't mind hearing your opinion of that. That was kind of shocking, but the coaching staff down there seems to really have a lot of respect for him and his knowledge and what he's done here and the way he ran his offensive line and the defensive schemes and stuff like that. So what do you think about it?
Well, a couple things. I said this the other day. There are going to be more kids from that offensive line last year at Kentucky going to play in the NFL than a lot of people realize. Their numbers, their strength, and whatever. People are going to be surprised. I'm not saying first-round draft choices or anything like that, but you might have 3 kids drafted. Not from the line, by the way. And I'm not going to be surprised if at least 2 of them down the road end up starting. Seriously, end up starting. A couple things. Texas, they've got Christ, who had a couple really good years as the head coach at Pitt. They got Neil Brown, who one of my favorites of all time, and I'm going blank on whatever. I'll look at my notes, whatever. But they have accumulated a lot of former head coaches there, and they have money. I think it's great for him. I think it's great for him. I think it's great for Sarkisian. I think he's close to a brilliant defensive guy. And if he's not recruiting and just talking schemes and stuff like that, oh, hello, I went brain dead. Thank you, punk. Hit myself with a pie. Neil's the head coach at North Texas. I forgot. He was at Texas last year. Neil Brown was at Texas last year, and I saw him in the press box for about 2 minutes, and he's the head coach at North Texas. Thank you, punk. I forgot. But they have accumulated a lot of former head coaches there. That part is correct. No, I think it's great. He stays in football. I don't know if he wants to be a head coach again. I think there are some guys, I'm going too long here, but Marvin Lewis, I was always shocked and ticked off he didn't get another chance to be a head coach in the NFL, and he wanted to be. With the record of what he did with the Bengals and changed the culture around, and they won, and they had a great year to win they had 2 times they had a great shot of winning the Super Bowl, I thought, and their best defensive lineman broke a leg, and another time some guy named Palmer, who was having a great year at a quarterback, ripped his knee. And Marvin Lewis should have had people at his doorstep and never got another chance. Now I think he's at the point he likes being like a special assistant and stuff like that. I think that's a great job, couple $100,000 a year, not have the pressure as a head coach, not have to work 15 hours a day, and you're still involved in the game. I think it's brilliant. And maybe I have no idea what's in Mark's head, but I think that could be a wonderful opportunity for him to still coach as an outsider, still as an insider. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it does, and I think he'll relinquish. Or I think he'll thrive in kind of taking a back seat to the exposure and just be able to focus on his kids. And I think he will like that as opposed to the stress of being a head coach at a football program that's always trying to seems to always be in the back seat and struggling to get on top at Kentucky. And I think a place like Texas with the head coach that's there and the amount of money they've got, I think he'll be phenomenal there. I think he'll enjoy it. I think he'll have fun, and he needs to have fun. He's shown a lot of stress in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, divorce, the job, the hours. I'm not getting personal, but whatever it is, it can't be difficult when your kids are in a different part of the country and all those kinds of things. Yet he was tough. Hey, he might get another ring. You know, he's got Manning for another year. He might, here's a guy that might get a second championship ring.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
Anything you want to plug, my friend?
Nope, I'm good. Appreciate you. Appreciate the show. Todd's off in Las Vegas having a good time. So,
wouldn't you like to come back? Wouldn't you like to come back as your son?
Yeah. He's having a good time. I can tell you that.
Good for him. Hey, bless your brother. Always appreciate your time. Keep in touch, and we'll do this shortly if it fits with your schedule down the road.
Yep, let's get together.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, see you. Thank you.
Mr. Lanter from the days of Joe B. Always good stuff. Good stuff. Jimmy, this has been a fascinating day so far, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
I think I need to read the General Lifskin because I've already had a couple people come at me to say, with good, hey, don't forget about the lawsuits and stuff like that. But, I did it in the 12 o'clock hour. Think that's fair I read it again?
Yeah, I think so.
I do too. So, Mr. Barnes, who you're going to call in a minute. And so the point of me doing this, and Jenna Lifskin put this up, and she's the assistant editor of the Kentucky Colonel, and she covers Kentucky. And I applaud her for doing this. And Jimmy, well, I'm going to read everything because I normally do anyway. I'm going to be curious if anybody at all comes out the way she has with this, talking about Mitch Barnhart's retirement. I'm just going to read it verbatim. Mitch Barnhart's retirement comes only a few weeks after the Lexington Herald-Leader published an article detailing an investigation into former assistant cross-country and track coach Hakan DeVries, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, for alleged sexual harassment and stalking. Barnhart is currently involved in an ongoing lawsuit against the University of Kentucky filed by two former swim coaches. According to the lawsuit, the university allowed former coach Lars Jorgensen to foster a, quote, toxic, sexually hostile environment within the swim program, end of quote. Jorgensen was accused of rape and sexual assault, amongst other Title IX violations. So she put that up today. And as Jimmy and I both agreed, that this is a strong suggestion that one might have something to do with the other. I'm not suggesting it, but I could see why somebody would. The truth is, Jimmy, I don't have any idea, and we're probably never going to find out.
Yeah, I don't think this, the truth of that, or whatever you want to see, whether they're correlated or not, I don't think the public will ever find out. But
we agreed before that she's definitely suggesting that the timing, people say things aren't a coincidence. And I say it a lot, by the way. You're smiling now, Jimmy, but you're suggesting that she's saying that this is no coincidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading from it.
Would you suggest that'll be a lot of people that'll be reading from it?
Yes. I would, in my opinion, the majority of people would read that and go, oh, the dots are connecting, just as someone who's reading and observing.
Now, here's the other thing that there'll be some people who love Mitch. And if you love Mitch, great. If you don't like Mitch, great. I don't really care, nor do I want to influence anybody that way. I just give you my opinion. I guess that's influencing. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Can't you see, and I know you can see this, Jimmy, there'll be some people say, how dare you say this when he's retiring and let's have it all go. That's just BS. Yeah. It's not the news business. It's BS. There's two sides to every coin. Right? Don't you agree?
100%.
I wonder if anybody else will touch this the way she has.
If it wouldn't surprise me as much, it's kind of one of those, once one person does it or one person stands up, then there could be some more people that not pile on, but if they have their own, different sources close to a situation that's not exactly what she had, wouldn't be surprising.
Would not. Doug Barnes, former UK assistant on Eddie Sutton, coming up next. Don't forget about my friend Ramon Carriega at Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Acupuncture. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Acupuncture. Ramon has helped me out, as you hear me say, tremendously. Seizure, dizziness, headache, confusion, low energy, parasites, chronic Lyme, breech infertility, autoimmune, metabolism issues, myopathy, neuralgia, sciatica, foot pain, hand pain, arm, neck, shoulder, low back pain in general, and other things he can do to help. He's an amazing dude. Also providing a licensed massage therapist now. Check out Blue Lotus Health, Ramon Carriega, special guy, and a dear friend, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth, and we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
March is here, and Clark's Pub & Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up Bud Dig lunch meat, 5 for $5, and Jolly Rancher, Shackalicious, or Twizzler peg bags, 2 for $6. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pub & Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
We spent a lot of time talking about Mitch Barnhart retiring, John Pelfrey fired, had a horrendous record at Tennessee Tech, but when I first heard of the news, my first thought was of his wife, who's been battling cancer. 79 and 138, 7 years as a head coach at Tennessee Tech. They don't have a ton of money there. Not an easy job, but he didn't win enough. And was 13 and 18 this year. With that, Kentucky's playing A&M tonight on the road. Bucky ball, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, old dear friend, Mr. Popolock himself, has had the business for 30 years, right, Doug?
That's correct.
30 years, his own Popolock. He's got Popolock in Lexington. He's got Popolock in Louisville. We'll do a plug at the end. Doug, how are you? How's your wheels? Are you back in the tennis game? And what do you think about tonight's game?
Well, the good news, I can walk these days, and not back into tennis, just hitting the ball a little bit, but doing great. And this is a big game for the Cats tonight.
They almost have no choice but to win. Otherwise, they're playing in the SEC tournament Wednesday. I mean, that becomes a strong probability, and ain't nobody going to win the tournament starting on Wednesday.
No, but I just think for the season that this is a big game for them because they need to keep the momentum going after, let's face it, the Cats had a great game against Vanderbilt and showed them what their potential is, but you kind of got to keep building on that. Of course, we realize we got the big Florida game coming up, but same time, this is a big game just to keep that momentum going in my mind.
Can you tell if they have their act together for good? This has been, and I've thrown this at people this week, forgetting about, the NCAA mess and the really bad season, forget about a bad season. But as far as highs and lows, ups and downs, we won 5 out of 6. Oh, we're doing great. Oh, we lost 3 in a row. Oh, the world's falling apart. Oh, fire Pope. Not that I've ever suggested that. And I think part of it psychologically is that not everybody is sold on Pope. But Doug, in all my years, I do not remember another season that had more ups and downs like this one. Can you think of another season?
No, but I can't remember what happened last year. So but and in fairness, with the injuries, I say in fairness, you're rebuilding a roster every year this year. That's what the game is. So you got that issue going on, and then at the same time having the injuries that the Cats have had, and trying to figure out what the best lineup is. They've had their reasons, I guess what I'm trying to say. And the good news, hopefully, a lot of those questions have been answered. And going into the important part of the season, hopefully the Cats are on an uptick as far as their overall play.
Well, the Baltimore Ravens, the kicker missed the field goal, then Harbaugh gets fired. Had they made the field goal and maybe won another game after that, he probably wouldn't have been fired. It's funny how life goes. Had JQ been healthy and been the player that people anticipated, this could be a top 10, top 15 team, and people would think about Pope differently. That's just the way it goes, fair or not. Doesn't have to be fair, right?
No, you're right. You're right. And that's true of most coaching positions and most seasons. Keeping people healthy. Alan, the first year I was at UK as assistant coach Sutton, we were 32-4, which is it's a pretty good record, and came within 2 points to go into the Final Four. But the bottom line is we started the same lineup for every game, and that just doesn't happen very often. And we weren't that deep either as a team, but at the same time, we were just very fortunate. The next year, we had 2 starters go out before the first game of the season. So it's just part of the game. And I think you got to hand it to Coach Pope and his staff that they've been able to adjust. Just to point out what Denzel Aberdeen's done to, not play that position as far as the point, and to be able to adapt and take it like he has. I think it really speaks well for him and has really helped the team.
You have a feel as to how far these kids can go? Because I don't. I'm not going to be surprised if they don't go deep in the SEC tournament, but I'm also not going to be surprised because I think it's tough on a short rotation to go deep in the tournament for almost anyone. Your legs get too tired. But I'm not going to be surprised if they get it together and make the Sweet 16. Won't shock me at all.
Yeah, again, playing like they did against Vanderbilt, let's face it, Vanderbilt didn't shoot well the first half, but Vanderbilt for the game ended up shooting almost 52%. And to really kind of dominate them like we did, that shows the capability. And it kind of, you want momentum, in my opinion, you really want some good momentum going into the NCAA tournament. And hopefully the Cats can finish up in these next 2 games and do well in the tournament. And at that point, it kind of depends on your draw and your matchups. And they could have a good opportunity to make the Sweet 16, which is a pretty good accomplishment.
We both agreed, like everybody does, Marino's had just a spectacular freshman season, SEC Freshman of the Week. He'll get bigger and stronger for next year if he's here. Hope he is, but I hope the kid does what's best for himself. But it seems to me if there's one thing, and how do you do this, Doug? He needs to work on, it's in the scouting report. It's got to be. Anytime he gets the ball, they're swiping at his hands, and he's had a lot of balls have been knocked away. The kid has had a spectacular freshman season and grown up tremendously. Last year at this time, he's hoping to play in the Sweet 16 for crying out loud, and he's so much bigger and stronger, and he'll be that much more next year. How do you help the kid's hands as a coach? What do you do drill-wise? Because I think it'll be fixed, which will only amplify his game, and I wonder if it's just getting stronger hands, or you tell me.
Well, as I was mentioned to Maryland, for big people, which he is, making an adjustment from high school to college, especially the level of the SEC, is just really difficult because how many big people did he play against in high school? I don't know. It'd be unusual that he played against one or two close to his size. So you got to adjust to playing against the more physical game and the bigger person. And I think as the season's gone on, he's adjusted to that. But to answer your question too, Alan, you can work on your ability to handle the ball and handle those passes. I had a post person one time that he really struggled, and this goes back a long time ago, but there used to be it's called ball back, and you could pitch it against it and come back to you. And I came up with some drills to have him to work on that. And the bottom line is, by the time he graduated, he was a great postman. So there are some things, and I'm sure the staff has worked with him, but a lot of that's just getting used to how the physical play and realizing that there's going to be people in there trying to get their hands on the ball. But I think he's gotten better, and I think that's, as a coach, that's really what you want him to do.
I bet he's tons better next year at that. Tons better. He's a ferocious worker. And the other thing I like about him, he's got a great attitude about everything. Everything. He comes from a wonderful family, which, can only help exponentially. What would be, Doug Barnes, former UK assistant, what would be, in your opinion, the number one thing Kentucky has to do better to perhaps get to the next level of this season? Or maybe it's a series of things. As a coach, how do you look at it?
Well, first, I feel like the Cats have got to get better defensively. And I think they've made strides toward that, but they still got a good ways to go because, your shooting can be off, but if you're able to stop people, that gives you a chance, even if your offense is struggling. The second thing would be to make sure they rebound and not give up the offensive rebounds and stuff. And the last would be to make sure that they hit their free throws, because this day and time, with people fouling and going to the line, the ability to step that line and hit your free throws. And, we were 20 for 25 against Vanderbilt, shooting 80%. And that's how a lot of these games, as you get into the close ones and get into the tournament, are won at the free throw line. And you want to make sure that when you get that opportunity that you cash in on it, because that can make the difference in a close ball game.
Perfect. And I've been harping on free throws like crazy. Tell me if you disagree with the number. Doug Barnes, former UK assistant, if a team can't hit 75%, I think they stink. And tell me I'm just out of my mind.
Well, if you're Division I college basketball, you should be hitting 75%. You're right. Because this day and time, with everybody driving to the lane and getting the fouls, and it's just so important. Number one, and from a defensive standpoint, that you're not making the silly fouls. We used to call it bonehead fouls. And the reason is you don't want them getting into the one-on-one. And you want to get into the one-on-one as fast as you can and then capitalize on it. And watching a ton of games, bottom line is that's the difference in a lot of big games and big wins is getting to the foul line and hitting a high percentage, and you're going to win most of those games.
Funny how it works, isn't it? Mr. Barnes, give yourself a lovely plug for Pop Lock with everything you do from locks or opening up cars. You tell us.
Well, just to remind your listeners, Alan, that we do key fobs. A lot of people don't know where to go this day and time when their key fobs break or they're not working. And we don't make key fobs. We get key fobs and program them, and you have to be careful if you go online. A lot of the products that you get online, number one, are not very good, and two, you got to be able to program them. So And one other thing is make sure you always check the battery, because a lot of times we get calls with that, it's keep off's bad. Well, it's just to change the battery. So keep that in mind, because that could save you some money and keep you where you can get your car started and get into it.
And the number to dial in Louisville and Lexington for Popolock if they need your services?
It's 859-253-OPEN, which is 253-6736. And in Louisville, it's 502-895-6736, OPEN.
Mr. Barnes, my dear friend, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate your knowledge.
All right. And this hope it's a big win for the Cats tonight.
Be nice. I'm looking forward to it. I think they're going to win, and I still believe that as great as Florida is, they're not going to go the rest of the season undefeated, and somebody's going to beat them. And I bet the crowd is absolutely crazy on Saturday. I'm looking forward to watching the game.
I'd say you're right, Steph, and hopefully you're right. Okay.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep. All right.
Have a
Take
good one.
care. Mm-hmm.
Doug Barnes, outstanding friend, and was a heck of a coach back in the day. What a day. I was going to leave with Mark Stoops becoming a special assistant to Sark at Texas. That came on about 12:27. John Pelfrey fired as coach at Tennessee Tech. It's to his credit, he lasted as long as he did. I think the world of Pell. I wish him, and more importantly, his wife, happy health as she's been battling cancer. Pell was always one of my favorite former Cats. I wonder if he'll get a chance to coach again. My guess is yes, as an assistant. And the big news of the day is obviously Mitch Barnhart retiring, 24 years. There's good and bad. He did a lot of really good things. There are a lot of things to complain about. We can't go over these again in 30 seconds. Jonathan Davis gave a C+. I agree with a C+. Didn't Bo Lanter give higher than that? Did Bo give a
B-?
I thought B- too. Okay, so we agree. Interesting legacy. So anyway, coming up next, Brad Taylor. And what's coming up at 4 o'clock?
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy.
And you're saying I'm more stubborn than Matthew.
Yes.
I probably resemble that remark.
I'll ask Sean after the show and see what he says.
Oh, I bet Sean says I'm more stubborn. I would
probably.
I would bet a 6-pack on that. Have yourself a lovely day. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all the people that were concerned about me when I took a week off. So I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you telling one friend. I love doing the show. I love the interactions, and maybe one of these days we'll open up the phone lines. You think we should ever do that?
We can try it.
Yeah, maybe we'll try it. Okay. Have a great day. Brad Taylor next. Matthew and Jimmy at 4. Love the fact we're live during drive time. I think it's a smart move by LM.